Your name is Joshua Johnson, and you're walking through the Baja Desert in your home state of California. And you are deathly afraid of snakes. You just don't like them. And you happen to come across this creature. Should you be afraid? Well, no. But why? Well, in order to answer that question, we're first going to have to answer, what the hell is a snake anyway? And why is Sonic the Hedgehog mentioned on their Wikipedia page? We're actually not going to answer that one. So, if you're a nerd like me, you might recognize that this is a phylogeny tree. And this is the phylogeny tree for the family known as Squamata, which contains basically all the lizards. And as you'll notice, right in the center of it is the family Serpentes, which is going to contain all of our snakes. So in order to classify what falls into Serpentes, or what classifies as a snake, we're going to need a checklist of things that we can identify on the snake. Now, without getting into too much detail, most phylogenies are based on molecular DNA. So that's basically going into the DNA and looking at which sequences line up. And our analysis here is going to be based on morphology. So it's going to map pretty closely, but for our purposes, this works in identifying what is a snake. So to continue, we have a picture here of a ball python, and according to the Smithsonian National Zoo, all snakes have no external ear openings. You can look at this ball python here for as long as you'd like, and you will never find an external ear opening. Our next identifying characteristic comes from a biology exchange forum post that I read earlier by Alice D. Trust me, this is just common knowledge. But snakes have no eyelids. They have something called a brill, which is a modified hardened scale which protects their eye. So they have no need to blink. They physically can't do it. They just don't have eyelids. So let's put our checklist here to the test. So what we have right here is a reticulated python, and as you'll notice, we're only going to be looking at the face. And if you look on the side of the face here, you'll see that we have no external ear openings. If we look at the eye, it's a little hard to tell, but we also have no eyelids. And it does have a brill. It's just very clear. That other snake that we saw a second ago where it was very visible, I don't know what's going on with that snake, but it's probably not having a very good time. So let's try out our checklist on the face of our creature from earlier. And if we look right here, we'll see that it does have an external ear opening. If we look at its eyeball, we won't be able to see the external ear opening, or the eyelids, sorry. But this guy right here discovered this species in 1880. His name is Spencer Fullerton Baird, and he did find that they have eyelids. So we're going to take his word for it. So this here is not a snake at all. It failed both of our steps. Step 1, checking for the external ear holes. It had them. Step 2, looking for the brill. It does not have one, and it does have eyelids. So what is this thing? Well, it's what's known as a legless lizard. If we go back to our phylogeny from earlier, our legless lizard is going to fall into the family Anguillidae, which are the glass lizards. Specifically, that photo is of a western slender glass lizard. So if we look at this phylogeny and we look down here at Varanus, we see that actually this guy here, the Komodo dragon, known as the Varanus komodensis, is actually more closely related to this. This is a California striped racer of the species Masticophis lateralis, than this guy, our western slender glass lizard from before, the Ophisaurus aconituus. So that is how to identify on the fly if you come across a snake-like creature, whether or not it is a snake. Remember, we're going to look for those external ear holes, that's step 1, and then we're going to look for eyelids, which might be a little harder. We're going to have to wait for it to blink, or more likely, not blink. So that is how we can tell that this guy here is not a snake at all. It's just a lizard.